and it's called a bias towards action. So I tell entrepreneurs and people that I talk to, you have to fail quickly. So you have to act within 24 hours. If you have an idea, start immediately. By the time somebody else has that same idea, starts to think about it, plan meetings and stuff like that, you failed 5 times and you're already way ahead of them.
Welcome back to the Falls Homefront, where Wichita Falls leads in North Texas real estate, business, and life. I'm Tim Lockhart, and today we're talking about something bigger than mortgages. We're talking about leadership, entrepreneurship, technology, community, and building a life that's more than just simply making a living. Joining me today is Stephen Barton, the founder of Core Community Mortgage. Stephen is an entrepreneur, owner of Soccer Spectrum, and founding force behind the Big Six Foundation. He's built businesses, led teams, embraced innovation, and invested deeply in the community he serves. Stephen, welcome to the Falls Homefront.
Appreciate you having us on. Love me some Wichita Falls. I wish Dallas Cowboys still did a training camp there. I remember going there as a kid with my dad.
Yeah, it used to be here. That was a little ways back.
Yeah.
So Stephen, I'd like to start with people's story. So before the business, how did you get to where you are today?
My parents, thankfully, right? I did a lot of stories start there. You know, everybody has their kind of own journey, and I grew up with a very awesome group of parents. And my dad was an entrepreneur. He worked for a company called Bristol Myers up in New York, which was a pretty big company, and led the personal home health division. And just growing up with having that as the backdrop. And then when they asked us to relocate to Detroit, he decided to stay in DFW, and he opened up a soda shop in the 50s and 60s in a town called Kennedale, Texas, which is a small town near Fort Worth and Mansfield. And in that soda shop, I started working when I was 12 years old and got to work side by side with my dad and really learn about leadership and entrepreneurship, about him starting his own small business after working for a Fortune 10 company. It was like the tale of two businesses. He only had 2 jobs in his whole life. But having experienced that and watch how, he brought everything he had to that and became a really big community leader in Kennedale. It was one of those things where even in the small, fast casual business of a soda shop, he had 3 employees that worked there 35 years, and he signed car loans and helped people get houses, and, just really instilled in me that, we're lucky enough in life to get to do what we love and be around people, that we need to share that and help as many people as we can. And then, that led into my mom, who was just this wonderful host in our neighborhood, where our house was this magnet. When 10 or 15 different kids would show up, each one of them had their own favorite drink or their own favorite snack. And my mom just taught me about empathy and how to listen and really serve people from a different way than even my dad did. And it allowed me to learn, and it carried through when I was in college at A&M, and and even when in a fraternity I was in there, and just being the Rush chairman, I just loved being around people. So did my parents, and that's what carried me on to help really serve the community. And mortgages is something that I just became the vehicle of which I got to touch more people's life, because I saw a need there to be able to continue what my parents had taught me, and a way that I could give back, because I felt like it was just a very unique market that was underserved from someone who's just really cared about every single customer. It didn't matter what type of house they were buying or what the price point was or what they looked like. It was just, how can we make the community grow and make things better in life?
That's a great story. Thank you for sharing that with us. Yeah, and it's great to be able to take those lessons from your parents and to be able to apply. Yeah. So one thing that stands out to me is that you don't seem to view a mortgage company as simply making loans, but you often talk about serving people first. So tell us how that came about.
Yeah, so like my dad, he's still my best friend. He's 88 and he lives like right down the road from me. And we still go to every Cowboy game. We've been season ticket holders for like 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
So just from a very early age, my first book he ever gave me was How to Win Friends and Influence People. So that was the very first book I ever read. That was a non-textbook, right?
Right, yeah.
And so that really helped me understand that if you help enough people get what you want or they want, that's going to help you get what you want. So I bring that approach to whether it be soccer, whether it be mortgage, whether it be just anything in life. I want to be that connector of what people need. So if there's someone, I always tell people, whatever it is, I don't care what it is, raise your hand. And if I can help you, I'm either going to connect you to the person, I'm going to learn how to do it myself, or I will go figure out the right way to get it done, the person that can help. And so I bring that to pretty much anything I do in life, that veracity. I don't wear out, which is pretty rare. So even at the age of 50, I probably don't sleep enough. That what people would tell you, but I love what I do, so I don't mind working. And especially when it comes to real estate agents, I watch people that do what I do not be available when customers are shopping for houses. And like a lot of times when they're buying a house, getting the offer really hinges on about 30 minutes of time that if you can move faster than anybody else and
Thank
you
you.
can be
Yeah.
available, then you can help somebody get the house. And I truly look at America at what's going on or what has been going on with home prices and rates and things like that is just a microcosm of where we're at. It's never changed the actual overall problem, which is buying a house is expensive.
Hmm.
And if we could help more people get that piece, then it can change the way they can grow generational wealth through real estate and then teach them how to take that first house and make it an investment property as they move up. And then we can help change some of the way we have these gaps in wealth that are where the top 1% has 98% of the wealth. And I feel like we can be part of that solution one person at a time. I know it sounds cliche, but I truly do bring that approach every day. And if it's cliche, it's not a cliche, but we're going to win. And I was just at a meeting with a bunch of real estate agents, and they said, "What's your niche?" And I said, "Winning for humans." I was like, be a niche person that can do one thing or another. My job is to win. Even if I can't do it, like I said, I couldn't do a loan last month. And I went to my local bank that does my businesses from entrepreneurial stuff. And I said, hey, I need to help this person. Here's how to do it. And they did it. And I didn't get any part of it, but my realtor got a deal done for the customer. And the customer would have got a house when everybody else would have just walked away. And we can't do
Right.
that.
That's
You can't
great.
walk away, whatever your business is, whatever you do in life, you can't turn away.
Yeah, that's true. And being that connector of people is really important. People tend to start to know you by that. And so, do you think that business owners today spend too much time chasing transactions instead of building those relationships?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard, right? So I look at when people talk to me about that, I'm at a different point in my kind of journey on the highway. And so when people, are doing that, they're trying to pay the light bill, right? And
Right.
sometimes it forces you to look at things less relationship based and more like, I've got to have this thing to be able to feed my family or pay for college or whatever it is. And so it takes you out of your core values. It takes you out of your lending principles or whatever your business is that made you want to start that business to help people to begin with. And so it's hard. And that's why we talk to our team on all my businesses that we run the different verticals because it is different customers providing different services. And at the same heart of it is the core values that drive your decision making, right? And if you get the team, focused around what the true mission is and the core values, then you just stick to them. And, one of our ones and my business partner in the soccer facility and one of my best friends is Wes Pingleton. And he always says we keep our promises. And so we've always done that. And that's been painful sometimes. And it's cost us money. And sometimes it's been popular. But at the same time, people know that that's our DNA, then we have to abide by that, even when it means we can't win, and that's okay. And so we try to teach that. I teach my team that when, we do that. I just talked to a person that they're like, hey, I can't get this house. I don't have enough money to close. And I just told the team, hey, just do a lender credit. And they're like, well, that won't help us. We won't make any money. And I said, that's okay. That's okay. We're going to help them get the house. And you know what's going to happen? It's going to reciprocate to us, and they're going to send us 5 referrals. And they said, how do you know? And I said, I don't, but it doesn't change why we're doing it. Our job is we can help. And if it comes back to us, that's great.
Yeah, that's a great perspective and a great service to the community. You mentioned the soccer company, the Soccer Spectrum. That's a very different business than mortgages. Can you tell us about that? How did that come to be?
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm like probably a little bit like you, Tim. I'm a traditional Texan, American
Yeah.
football, American basketball, American baseball, right? I grew up playing baseball. So when people talk to me about soccer, I'm like, I don't really like soccer. But my daughter was gifted at soccer. She's very talented.
Uh-huh.
And so she played club soccer like a lot of people do. Is that's another avenue to be able to do that. And Wes, who's my partner in the facility, his daughter was on our team together. And this big club we played for just treated people not great. No callback, didn't care about the customer, trying to get the check to be able to pass it on. And, we just went to a restaurant and we sat down and he said, man, this can't be what's going to be for our daughters. And he said, well, what do you want to do? And I said, let's just start a soccer club. And he's like, you don't even like soccer. And I was like, yeah, I know, but I don't like bullies more than I don't
Right.
like soccer. So I was like, let's just do that. And so he runs a financial planning firm. I run a mortgage company. And I said, let's
Yeah.
just infuse the soccer club because we have client retention based business where if we don't keep our customers and we don't get referrals, we don't grow. And so I went to my IT department and my marketing team and I said, what do you know about soccer? And they said, nothing. I said, get ready. You're about to learn. And we literally launched a youth soccer club with 13 girls in our one team. And it grew to the fourth largest independent soccer club in North Texas. And we
Oh,
actually
nice.
partnered.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. It's we just partnered with the new pro club, Athletico Dallas Youth. So they have the new girl and female and male pro teams. And so, because that was our deal, is we were going to get opportunities for kids that no one else had. So getting pro pathways was always that. And in 8 years, we never made $1 off of soccer. We charged for soccer. We had to pay for league. We never took one penny. So people are like, oh man, you must be killing it. And Wes and I are like, we're working 30 hours. We make $0. We did our
Yeah.
last full year in control last year. We did like $1.6 million in scholarships because one of our core values was every player and person had a home. So if someone couldn't afford it, Wes and I would just write our own checks to get them to be able to play. We just didn't care. No one even knows that we did this. So everybody thinks because most of them hide behind 501c3s and the owners take $3 million out of it. We were a for-profit club and we never took $1. And so that was our badge of honor is no, we're for profit, but we don't make any money. And so people would say, aren't you going out of business? And I said, every day. But that led us to the soccer facility, which is here in Richardson, which is the oldest indoor outdoor soccer facility in the state of Texas, started by the Mungioli family, which is like they are the godparents of soccer in North Texas. They coached at all the high schools. And so when COVID hit, they shut down and they needed somebody to pass the baton to. And all these big California companies wanted it, but we had something they didn't. Their grandsons played for our youth club. So they came to us because they knew we would take what made it great and leave it and bring it forward. And now the facility looks like an English Premier League field, met like a ice house style restaurant and fun venue for families. And it really is a community asset. All the high schools use it, the junior highs, the elementary schools. It's really cool.
Oh, that's great. How do you see the youth sports strengthening the local community?
Well, it's tough. I had this happen with my son, and I wasn't firm enough in his journey in youth sports because he played soccer and basketball, select or whatever they call it, and club. And I let coaches kind of influence more of my decision making because you get in that point as a parent, you don't know sometimes what you don't know, and so you try to listen to experts. And what I found is, at the end of the day, parents still, for the most part, know better than what the what's best for their kid. We might not know the sport as well, and that's where you do need to rely on the experts. But we took an interesting approach because we saw burnout as a huge thing that was happening. We saw it like because that happened to my son, he got burned out, and I said I'm not going to let that happen to my daughter. So when we took the club over and restarted it, obviously we had all these points where we could see if someone was frustrated because we put machine learning and help desk ticket systems in. So if a parent had a problem, it alerted us in seconds and then we required our staff to get back to people in 4 hours. So that was unheard of in soccer. And then with social media, we never hid. We were the biggest social media, and I would put my cell phone on there. And people are like, "Dude, why are you putting your cell phone? People are going to call you." I'm like, "I hope so. I want to hear. You need to know." And so when we pulled our coaches together for the first year, I think Wes and I had 6 coaches on payroll, and Rick Parker was also a partner. But we had 6 coaches on payroll, and we had one team. People are like, what are you doing? I said, we'll have the best coach team. But we went to the coaches and said, hey, we're not doing the year round. All kids can play all sports. All kids can still play with their rec team because we knew how important the neighborhood rec teams are to the relationship aspect. of keeping those bonds because club sports tend to erode that a little bit. And we said they have to have sabbaticals. Over Christmas, they take breaks. They're allowed to take vacations. If they want to miss a game because they do that, you can't do anything to them. And it really helped us change a little bit of the culture. It's still hard to do. It's still exhausting because you still have to practice as much as you do. But, the burnout for kids is a real thing. And losing the love of the sport was something I saw happening across the board. I was really happy for my daughter because up until she just graduated from JJ Pierce, and up until that moment, even she had graduated and her peer soccer team had stopped playing, she was still playing on her club team because her coach was so awesome about treating people with respect and he did a great job. But because she loved her teammates that were still trying to get college scholarships, she was the best player or one of the best players on the team. She wanted to keep playing and going to tournaments for them because she knew it would help them get scholarships. So it's just a really cool, like, I look at my life, it's like those moments that you have where you see something happening in your kids or in life, your team, and you're like, it's working. People are getting it. And you just feel really proud.
Yeah, that's a great legacy that you're building there.
Well, both my kids work at Soccer Spectrum too, and so does Wes's kids. And so we get to work with them all summer. So I do mortgages during the day, and then I'll go work up there at night while they're working, just so I can spend time and see them. And it's just they're the hardest workers too. They do a great job.
And so tell us a little bit about the Big Six Foundation.
Yeah, that's another thing that just born out of, us seeing a challenge at our schools. Actually, our kids brought it to our attention. So all the schools where we live, they have auctions. They try to raise money for, you know, playground equipment or video digital boards that no one needs and all this stuff. And our kids would come to us and say, why can't people go on the field trips or why can't they have food and things like that? And so we would donate a deal. Westwood, he's my partner from soccer, and we would do it in his backyard and we do a cornhole tournament. We were at the last one like 10 years ago now. And he was like, man, we should challenge all the Richardson elementary schools to a cornhole tournament and get sponsors and make this a big deal. And he just said, it was after we finished the tournament that night. So next morning, he wakes up at like 8. We're a little groggy. Of course, we're going to bed till 3. He said, why are you here? And I said, okay, I started a website. I got us incorporated. He said, for what? And I said, we just started the Big Six. And he said, why are you calling it the Big Six? I said, I already got 5 other elementaries to do it with us. So there's 6 of us. And so that's what we're going to call it. And so we got 6 elementaries in Richardson to do it the next year. But we had friends at all of them. And they're like, yeah, dude, it sounds great. Now they're the 6 guiding principles of the charity because we have 18 schools now that participate in it. And we always struggled with a place to find to do it. But the last 5 years, because we own Spectrum, we just closed down Soccer Spectrum. We do the cornhole tournament there. We had 1,000 people playing cornhole at one time from Richardson I. It was crazy. It was a sea. Like the mayor came out and he was like, what is going on? I was like, go get some voters. Let's go. So it's really turned into something special, something small that, our daughters really saw a need. We've gotten the PTAs behind it, the Richardson ISD school board behind it now, the mayor, the city council. And we raise about $150,000 a year. So in our 10 years, we're almost to $1 million raised for the elementary school programs that have shortfalls on those things. We make sure they know no playground equipment, none of that. We're good. So it's really cool. We love it.
Great. That sounds amazing.
I'm even terrible at cornhole, but I still do it. So I mean, here we are. Another thing I'm not good at, but I love doing.
Bet you do it. Yeah. For those other entrepreneurs that are out there, what advice would you give them about if they want to make an impact, but they don't know where to begin?
Yeah. No, that's you've experienced this too, and looking at your career of being an entrepreneur as well. There's always that hesitancy. Like my wife's going through this right now, where she would work for a home builder for 25 years, but came home for the kids for high school just because it was really important to be there on their way to college, and it's super impactful. Like she changed our lives by doing that, and now the kids are going. My daughter's going to A&M this fall. My son goes to Kansas. And so she's like, man, what's next? And so we're talking about that. And we had a couple of different ideas. And she's like, well, I don't know where to start. And this is a person that ran the largest independent home builder in the state of Texas marketing department in 4 cities, Island Homes, right?
Yeah.
And she's like,
Right.
I don't know where
Yeah.
to start on my bed. And so I find this a lot. And I talk to a lot of people. And one of the reasons why I feel like I'll do anything is because I'm not afraid of failure. right? It's going to happen. I fail. I tell my kids all the time, if you look at my life, and this will happen when I go, there will be so many failures that if you looked at those, they probably outweigh the successes, the number of failures I've had in my life, either mistakes I've made, friendships I've trusted too much, personal sabotage, business failures, all these things. But there wouldn't be this life either if I wouldn't have done those things. And so our wall in our group area of all my businesses, it tells them we live with one thing, and it's called a bias towards action. So I tell entrepreneurs and people that I talk to, you have to fail quickly. So you have to act within 24 hours. If you have an idea, start immediately. By the time somebody else has that same idea, starts to think about it, plan meetings and stuff like that, you failed 5 times and you're already way ahead of them. We don't do meetings here. Someone says, "Hey, I want to meet with you next week." I'm like, absolutely not. Call me right now. Let's get on the phone. Let's get going, because this time will just slow everything down. And it doesn't mean that you're going to have more success. It just means you're going to figure out if something's going to work a lot faster. And I truly believe that in my heart. And so my team and all the ventures that they run, they do that. And we do that. So we're like, when we flip houses, my wife runs a house flipping business that we have called Four Corners Real Estate. And when we get a house, I tell her we're flipping this in 60 days. Complete gut jobs on houses, like everything out, new electrical, new plumbing. And people are like, how do you get that done in 60 days? And I said, because that's our process. It's like it's not mind bending. We're not doing anything different. But if you have systems and processes that have been a result of serious failures already, then you can speed up all your timelines. I would not have those if I sat around and thought about ways to do things. So like my wife last night, she was like, "Hey, okay, I'm ready to go and do it." And I said, "Well, why is the website not built yet?" That's what I told her. Because I would have already had it built. And with AI and technology, entrepreneurs truly can advance their ideas in weeks instead of months or years. You can fail test a lot of your business without ever stepping out now to see if what you actually want to do has an audience, has a need, right? Because if it doesn't, it's not going to work no matter how long you take to bring it.
Yeah, so technology is something that I was also wanting to talk about today. Artificial intelligence, AI is certainly changing every industry, and with ours, it's changing a lot. So, how do you use AI today?
Well, my son will tell you I'm a crazy person. I've always been an early adopter of technology. Like when COVID hit and most companies were like, "Oh no, we have to learn to work from home." My mortgage company, we were already working from home. 96% of our staff is already working from home with dual monitors. We were completely web based. So when COVID hit, we actually hit the gas and drove past everybody because we were already going.
Hmm.
And so I look at technology as an opportunity. I'm fearful, just like anybody else, of what this thing can become, just like any technology. If you look at
Right.
Y2K, I was telling my son, go research Y2K. Everybody thought the world was ending because of
I
zeros and
know.
ones. I mean, if you, Tim, if you remember what everybody was doing, and look, it doesn't mean this will be the same thing. I'm not saying that, but I can tell you there is a way to use this technology to make lives better and impact lives. So I, about a year and a half ago, bought into that. And so, like we were driving back, we drive to North Carolina. We go out there. That's where my dad's from, to go to the beach every year because we have a house. We stay a couple weeks and it's really nice. But on the drive back, I had all these ideas. And I believe Mike Mills, one of my good friends and mortgage partner, told me brains are for having ideas, not to hold them. And so I literally turn on my chat. I call it the stream of consciousness, and we just talk about stuff. And it's creepy. The whole family's creeped out. But the next day when I come in, everything's organized, everything's ready to go. So I use AI for good. I have, I think, 11. Our team has 11 AI employees that work every day or work like whenever they're scheduled to work, just like a normal person, to help me do this. One of the employees I have is someone that finds podcasts, that goes out and looks at podcasts from really strong local entrepreneurs and leaders that have mortgage and real estate backgrounds and introduce me to them about opportunities for me to get to meet new people. And now I'm on a call with Tim because AI found your
There you
podcast.
go.
This one would be a really good fit. Tim's core values, because what it does, it then takes the podcast host, searches their social media, their resume, their background, and says, you guys have very similar core values, believe in community, believe in repeat customers, caring for people and family. And so it lined us up. And so I feel like now that I'm with you today, I feel like that worked, right? I use it for
Yeah, it
my real
sounds like
estate
it
agent.
did. Yeah.
Like right now, it's really relevant. If you look at for agents, the market right now is about 5.9 months of inventory, which is almost a buyer's market. It's pretty close. Well, a lot of listings are sitting. So my team built an AI employee that takes a listing for our agents, runs an appraisal evaluation model for them, and then gives them a 90-day reboot of the property with social media, conversations to have with the seller, confirms the pricing for them, goes through this whole 10-page deal and gives this to them instantly to help them and help the seller. There's another example of AI that we have that does really good stuff, right? And that helps. I have another one that organizes how I take care of my kids' tuition and their dues and all their fees and stuff that's going on in college so that I can stay on top of making sure it's relevant. It looks at the football schedule for their colleges, puts their parents' weekends on my calendar. There's a lot of good stuff. And I will tell people this: the reason why I love AI and I lean into it is one, I want to know how things are going to work in the future. I want to be ahead of it so I can teach and help protect the people around me, their businesses, and things like that. But second, it's freeing me up to do more stuff like this. I am touching more people. They're shaking their hands. I'm seeing their eyeballs more than I ever have in my business. And I'm busier than I've ever been with 5 businesses running. And I'm still getting more time to connect and be in the community and serve. And so I really am behind the good uses of it. I got my eye on the other ones too, though. I mean, so don't think I'm going into it with a blind eye. So I set up the safeguards and everything, and we'll see how it turns out. Hopefully, it's not the Terminator. It's more Bob Ross making paintings, right?
There's the law of unintended consequences. We don't always know what things are coming down the pike with the things we do today. So,
Well, I ask people, are you going to stop AI? Are you going to stop it right now? It's like saying it's going to be terrible or anything going to stop it? No. So I'm going to learn everything I can about it so that if I see warning signs, I'm going to shake whatever leader I have to get my hands on. If I have to go find Sam Altman or I have to go find Elon Musk or Dario, whoever it is, then at
yeah.
least they've got people that are trying to test it for good and
Yeah.
see, the way to build that.
Yeah. So if there's a business owner or an entrepreneur that's listening to this that hasn't gone as far down that rabbit hole, what would you recommend for them? How can they start or get more involved with AI for their business?
Yeah, I mean, the great thing is, every business owner, every person at this point knows how to Google something, right? What you don't realize is when you're using Google now, you're using Gemini essentially, which is AI. But even if you don't know how to start with AI, just go to AI and ask it how to start, right? Tell it, don't lie to me, don't tell me what I want to hear. We have prompts for that. But the thing is just to get started very simply. But I do a lot of AI classes. So for real estate agents and small businesses so that I can teach them one, the basics of AI, how to really set it up. I have like 4 of our agents now who don't like social media, and we built their AI clones. I taught them which software to use, or we did, and now
Yeah.
the AI clones do their AI for them because they don't like to be on camera, but they
Right.
love the topics. They talk about the topics, and AI. It's their voice, it's them talking, but it's an AI clone that we built. Looks just like them now. It's hard to tell it's an AI,
Yeah.
but it's allowed them to get out and people see them now, and their business is growing because of it. I make sure they reference, hey, this is a clone because I'm one of those people that if we use AI for something, a marketing piece or anything, I make sure our team says it in there because I don't want people to go, man, I don't know if that's AI or not. We need to tell people that for sure. But, the way to get started is to just start and then figure out what you want to use for it. So one of the things we've started doing is called model hopping because each one does a little bit something different. They're really good at different things. And so I tell most people they start in chat, you need to pay for the $20 version. Either Claude or Chat needs to be what we call your brain in AI, where you upload all your stuff, you upload all your sources, your emails, who you are, and your business as well. Because then it will start to write like you. Because if you're an entrepreneur, 80% of searches now are starting on Chat, Claude, Gronk, or Gemini. It's not on the traditional Bing, which has their own Microsoft one, and then obviously Google has Gemini behind it. But You need to do that because the LLMs, the large language models, pick up businesses differently than the traditional search engine optimization that was built on keywords and things like that. It's now built on, do you answer questions that people are asking, right? Do you have your website set up correctly to where the headers are done correctly? The large language model can get your site map and understand that you have data in there that's important. Does your blog have interesting stuff on it? We have an employee that we built that literally wakes up every Friday morning, goes out to ask the people and sees what everybody's searching on mortgages and writes 10 blogs for me, sends them to me, and then I interject humanization into it, my stories, or I edit it for human, and then I hit approve, and it auto posts to my website. I don't do anything. It saves me hours of having to write, but it's still, I can make it unique to my experience, and it is me re-editing the whole thing. But now I can get 10 done in a matter of 2 hours instead of two done in a matter of 30 hours. Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, so Stephen, this conversation has been fantastic. I truly appreciate how we've talked about much more than mortgages today: leadership, entrepreneurship, community. For anyone who's listening who wants to connect with you, learn more about Core Community Mortgage or Soccer Spectrum or the Big Six Foundation, what is the best way for them to reach you?
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, if you go to obviously one of the AIs, you could just type in my name and that'll come up. But you can always go to Go Core MTG or corecommunitymortgage.com, soccerspectrum.com is the website. But my cell phone is on one of those or all of them. And feel free to call me or text me. I love talking to humans. It's things my dad instilled in me and why I was a rush chairman in my fraternity. But more importantly, for people out there is learn how to do all the things if you start a business that everybody has to do. You'll get a lot more respect if you know how to take out the trash and clean the toilets from your entire staff. You just tell people how to do things. And that's the message I've always tried to preach when you come to the soccer facility. It's completely spotlessly clean all the time. Our food is made from scratch because that's how my dad taught me how to run his kitchen. So it's the same way we do mortgages. When you come here, whether you're buying a $120,000 house or a $2 million house, you get treated like how we want to be treated, and we are all over it. And so it's because I've been there. I've been a home buyer. I've gone to a restaurant, and we just try to put ourselves in people's shoes. So reach out. I'm happy to share. I'm happy to be part of the solution. And like I said, if I don't know how to do it, I always know how to get hold of Tim, and I guarantee you Tim does. Tim knows
Thank
how
you
to
for
do it.
that. Yeah, let's hope. Yeah, so, hey, and for everyone that's listening, here's today's takeaway. Building wealth isn't just about buying a house or growing a business. It's about investing in your family, in your community, and relationships, and investing in yourself. When those things stay in balance, then success tends to follow. If you have found value in today's conversation, please like and subscribe to the channel and share this episode with someone who might benefit from it. So thank you for tuning into the Falls Home Front, and we'll see you on the next episode. Appreciate you tuning in. Want more insider tips on buying, selling, and investing in Wichita Falls and North Texas? Subscribe now and keep watching. Your next move starts here.